just because you see that damage is in the rear does not mean that there isn't other stuff throughout the vehicle that needs critical attention.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Reamer, that's Robert Grieve, and as always it's a privilege having this moment in time with you. And if you're watching during the premiere, that's 9:30 a.m. on the Mountain Standard Time on Saturday mornings, you can be chatting with Rob and I live, and we always enjoy those chats.
My God, yes. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Absolutely. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the ring the notification bell.
Ding, ding.
That just lets people know at YouTube that this is information that's worth sharing, and sharing is, in fact, caring in this instance. Rob, happy Saturday to you, brother.
To you, my dear friends, thank you for tuning in. So grateful.
Absolutely. Rob, you know that I love the genre of mysteries, and I have a collection of Sherlock Holmes novels from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes would say, "The game is afoot." And today we have a mystery, and probably a 2 or 3 part mystery, that we're going to peel back the layers and see exactly how we discovered the answers to the mystery.
Yeah.
We'll share it with you and why it matters so much to you.
It really, really does. And I have about 70 mysteries on the lot right now.
Yes, you do.
Because every single one of them we dive into to figure out what could possibly be afoot.
Right. All right, so let's get started with this. And it starts with a phone call that we received.
Yep.
Let's go
Throw
ahead.
my car in.
Yeah.
Just had an accident. Calling from the scene, all the rest of that. So we get the car here, and we're talking specifically about a 2022 Toyota Highlander. And this took a pretty significant hit.
A rear end collision.
Yeah. Why don't you throw the picture up real quick?
It's there. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, that took a good shot. And, you know, there's a lot of investigation that goes into these things. I mean, when you walk up to the car, there you have it. You can see the damage, right?
Sure.
So we know what we have to do.
Right.
Maybe not.
What do you mean?
Maybe not. So one of the first places this goes is to our dear friend Francisco that works for us. Mm-hmm. And he does a pre-scan, or his partner Brian may be doing it. And what that is we take the actual Toyota computer and plug it into the Toyota vehicle and read the Toyota vehicle's computer with the Toyota computer.
Sounds reasonable.
Which anybody can acquire one of these.
Okay.
It's a scan tool. But the fact that it's Toyota's scan tool means that it's very specific and looks for certain things.
All right.
And allows you access to certain modules.
Computers, modules around the car.
ECUs and, you know, different trouble codes that it might have come across. And so this particular vehicle had several, like a Christmas tree lit up.
Yeah. There were a lot of codes being thrown.
So keep in mind that this was a rear end collision.
Yep.
Nothing in the front was damaged. Visually. But here are some of the systems in the car that now have problems. Automatic high beams.
That's in the front of the car.
Yes. AC inverter local fault code. Communication malfunction. lost communication with the blind spot monitor master module.
Wow.
Lost communication with the brake system control module. Lost communication with the cruise control front distance range sensor. That's in the front of the bumper.
Yeah.
Lost communication. Lost communication with multi-axis acceleration sensor module. Power steering control module. Obstacle detection modules. And those were mostly for the rear, but some of them were in the front also. Tire pressure monitor ECU lost communication. Ultrasonic sensor left rear
And there was
lost communication.
also the steering angle sensor.
And the steering angle sensor, yep. So those are what the DTCs are for. Now let's take a look at some of the systems, the ECUs, which there's ECUs, electronic control module. There's several throughout the car. Some of them that were involved were the main body, the air conditioner, the rear camera system, pre-collision system, lane control system, 4 more pre-collision systems, clearance warning systems, main body. It just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that the rear camera ECU, the code for that is lost communication with the blind spot monitor master module. So all of these systems are intertwined.
Sure.
And this also affected the front of the vehicle. What was also affected was the front occupant classification sensor. So the front occupant classification sensor is the seat weight sensor in the passenger seat. And the DTC for that, or trouble code if you will, is stored when the occupant detection system ECU receives a collision detection signal sent by the front occupant classification sensor in the case of an accident. So somebody was sitting in the front seat.
Yeah.
And because somebody was sitting in the front seat and this thing was hit hard, it threw this code.
Wow.
There's a lot going on with this thing, more than what meets the eye. Now, here's the thing. You can look at the seat, the passenger front seat,
Yep.
and you're not going to see anything wrong with it. In this particular case, it was hit hard enough that it threw a code. And that code really means that you have to reprogram the ECU. So it got hit hard enough that it shut that system down.
Right.
In many cases, if you just go into that module, like when you're doing your pre-scan,
Right.
so we could have just stopped with our pre-scan. But we go in and we look at the steering angle sensor also, which controls many of these things, or interfaces with many of these things.
Okay.
And we also go into the occupant control module, because the seat weight of the seat, that has to be calibrated many times.
Sure.
And it can be out a few pounds one way or another, which you don't want it to be, because that's going to determine if the airbags on the passenger side are going to deploy, and if so, at what force in some cases.
Sure.
So it's important that that seat weight, and I'll give you an example. I drive home and I have the dog with me. He likes to jump on the front seat, passenger seat.
Okay.
Most times, it does not turn on the seat light warning,
Right.
seat belt warning.
Yes.
But sometimes, if he sits his butt down just like this, all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding.
He's had an extra scoop of kibble.
You know, he's sitting in the thing in a weird direction or whatever. He's heavy enough to say there's something in the seat
Right.
that needs a seat belt.
Yes.
So all these systems work together.
Sure.
And just because you see that damage is in the rear,
Yeah.
does not mean that there isn't other stuff throughout the vehicle that needs critical attention.
And if you don't scan for it, if you're not looking for it,
You're not going to find it.
right?
You're not going to find
You
it.
know, the title of this is "How do you repair something you cannot see?" So, yeah, I mean, if you can't see that damage, and you're not conscious of the proper repair procedures, the pre-scan and then subsequently the post-scan,
Yep. In-process scans.
you would never know.
Yeah, you may not ever know.
And the reason we mention that is because there's a lot of shops out there who don't have the proper equipment and they don't have the knowledge to go ahead and follow those things, or they're under marching orders not to.
In some cases, sadly. So, you know, it kind of begs the question: if you've been in an accident, and I don't care what kind of vehicle you have, a Mercedes, a Ford, it doesn't really matter. When you call the shop that you're going to bring it to, ask a question. What kind of vehicles do you generally repair? The ones that are certified are going to tell you right then and there, we're certified in these makes and models, and these make up the bulk of the business.
Right.
In our case, it's Lexus and Toyota
Yep.
that are our most repaired vehicles here.
Sure.
And that we are most trained, and that we are recognized by the factory through the certification program.
Right.
You want to try and get it to somebody that is familiar with your car and knows what to look for after you've had a collision, because there's many things that could be damaged that you cannot see,
Right.
and that people have the knowledge to know to go look for it to keep you safe.
Now, there was another element of mystery
Yes.
in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and I was intrigued enough to say, let's talk about this too.
So, another important thing is that the shop that you're talking to is asking you questions. How many people were in the car? Where were they sitting? What happened in the loss? We learned that Toyota actually called after this accident.
Called where?
Called into the car through the speakers to make sure that everybody was okay. And this person had actually gotten out of the car to go help the other person involved in the accident, because
Yeah.
their airbags blew.
Okay.
So she was not there to hear the call, but somebody else was. Somebody else heard it. But nobody responded. And because nobody responded, Toyota dispatched all the emergency services to the scene. What a great story.
Right.
But it's information that, we kind of need to know. Because there's some cases where that SOS signal, once it's used, you have to replace certain parts.
Oh.
Depending on the car and how it's built and what it's equipped with, so on and
Sure.
so forth. And technology keeps evolving, so not one car is the same as the next,
That's the truth.
even if it's the same car. But it was puzzling to me that no airbags were deployed in this vehicle, which you would think is what is going to trigger an SOS call
Yeah.
to the manufacturer. And so on these newer vehicles, keep in mind this is a 2022,
Yep.
it is constantly sending codes if it feels a hiccup or any kind of weird thing that's going on in the system. Some of it may turn on a dash light, some of it may not, but it's sending this information up to the mothership.
Sure.
And when the mothership receives certain codes, it says, oh boy,
Got a call.
we got a call.
Yeah.
So the question is, what in this scenario created that call, because no airbags deployed? So if we look at this car again, it's really what you don't see that is the problem.
Yeah.
So if we pull that other picture up,
Uh-huh.
you'll see that there's a blind spot monitor there.
Yes.
Because that other picture is basically the same vehicle, but not smashed to smithereens in that particular area. That blind spot monitor in this car has been ripped off.
Gotcha.
And when it got ripped off, the wires touched,
Yep.
and it blew a fuse in the front that covers many of these systems,
The ECUs.
which is saying lost communication.
Right.
And so many things lost communication simultaneously. That could be what sent up the need for potential assistance. Or it could be that seat weight detection, the occupant detection system, that realized that it was in an accident.
Wow.
So it could be one or the other or both.
Sure.
All of it. Because I'm sure they got that code as well. These cars are incredibly technical.
Complex.
They're sharing information to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And it's all important. It's all important stuff. What's equally as important is repairing that vehicle if it's going to be repaired, and making sure that all those systems are functioning as designed when it gets returned to you as a consumer.
Which brings up the question and the title of the video is, how do you repair something you can't see? Well, you have to be able to know what to look for.
Yeah. And that goes in line with all the incredible training that we do here on the Toyota side, and the great job they do in creating the training to help us understand what else may be.
Right.
I mean, most shops are going to look at the damage and give you an estimate for that damage.
Right.
It's meaningless.
Rear bumper stuff.
Yeah, it's meaningless because there's a lot of other things that could be going wrong, and energy travels. You know, if we look at this picture again real quick,
Yep.
maybe you can put a little circle up there.
It's already there.
Here's your main damage, but if you look a little further up over the rear door, there's a dent in the roof rail. Well, that means that thing, that means the damage is far more severe than what you're seeing right here.
Right.
There's more energy that traveled through that vehicle, and the car absorbed that energy in many different ways,
Yeah.
taking it off the occupants. And it worked.
It did.
It worked. They both walked away and
walked away.
So that's what I got for us for today.
Well, it's an important thing, and thanks for helping solve the mystery. And it should not be a mystery to you. Ask questions of the shop that you choose, and if you're not satisfied with those questions, maybe consider finding another shop.
Yeah.
You
want somebody very familiar. The newer your vehicle, the more you want to get it to somebody that is very familiar with how they design and operate, and where the sensors are, and what they could be communicating with, and what other things could be a problem.
Yeah.
Because there's all sorts of stuff wrong in the front of this car that you can't see in the rear of the car. And if you look at the front of the car, you're not going to see it either.
All right. Well, Rob, thank you so very much. Man, this is important stuff. I hope you found value in it. If you did, give us the thumbs up and share this with other people that that you care about, because this important information is critical to all of us. Rob, thank you very much.
Yep. Appreciate you also very, very much for the comments. We enjoyed chatting back and forth with you. And if you're watching this after the premiere, leave us a comment in the comment section. Other people read it and will learn from what you've asked or stated.
There you go.
So thanks all very much.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Enjoy the week.